What is good, everybody? Welcome to another SB Nation NFL show. I am Rob Stats Guerrera from Niners Nation, alongside RJ Ochoa from Blogging the Boys and Brandon Lee Gowton from Bleeding Green Nation. Gentlemen, happy Friday. BLG, how you doing?
Had to go to me first, Stats, like you always do, and I appreciate it because, once again, Eagles still on top of the NFC East. First place team, 2-0. Who's hotter in the NFL right now, other than the Bills and maybe some other teams? But feeling good, Stats. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic, although not doing great in the picks. I'm the only winless member of the show. For our locks of the week, I'm 0-2. BLG, you are 1-1. And RJ, Mr. 2-0, Mr. Perfect. How you feeling today?
Somebody's got to carry the slack for the Cowboys around here, and that would be me. But Stats, you are not only a failure, but you're costing people money. Literally, like it's our advice. You know what games to wager on, and if they're following my advice, they're making a lot of money. If they're following your advice, they're not. Really, more proof that I am perfect and wonderful, and my presence here is a gift to everyone, as exemplified by the latest review on the SB Nation NFL show. We obviously always ask people to subscribe, leave a rating, write a review. This comes to us, the latest one from JHL Davis. 5-star rating. It is simply titled MFM and says, still doing a good job. Best part of Monday podcast. Talking, of course, about Monday Football Monday. Nobody ever talks about the Oddcast. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Your review that you read, that you really wanted to drive home how good the show was, and it was still doing a good job.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's a credit to me and Pete Sweeney and Rachel Prevet and the hard work that we put together and the great guests that we have. So maybe this show can live up to that high expectation that we set early in the week.
Okay, that's your fastball. Got it. Want to remind everybody we are brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook. It's an official sports betting partner of the NFL. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today. Use code SBNFL for a special offer when you sign up. That is code SBNFL only at DraftKings Sportsbook. If you're new to the show, here's what we're going to do. We're going to break down Thursday Night Football, and then we are going to preview every single game on the Sunday slate and every game of the week. We'll do our pick three and our locks of the week. Let's get into Thursday Night Football. Browns get the win. 29-17 over the Steelers. Was a little closer than that. The Browns got one of those weird touchdowns right at the end of the game to make the score look worse than it was. But let's start. There's a lot of Steelers stuff I get, but let's just start with the winners, BLG. Are the Browns the most together team in the AFC North right now?
No, I still think the Ravens would be that team. But I will say that Steelers are a little bit worse off than I expected, and I think the quarterback situation is something we need to talk about really quick before I do that. I just want to mention that I was the only team here, or the only person, sorry, not the only team. I'm on my own team. The only person that took the Browns to win in our look-ahead picks last night. By the way, I am also now 19, 13, and 1 in those, while both of you are below 500 in making picks. So you have some work to do, both of you. But look, I took the Browns because I didn't believe in Mitch Trubisky, and I only feel like it's a matter of time. And in fact, I can't believe, with all due respect to you, Stats, and your co-host on the Wednesday show, Kyle and Justice, I can't believe that Trubisky won the gauntlet, basically, of what your activity was, where basically the argument there was it's too soon to bench him. How is it too soon to bench him? The Steelers have 4 touchdowns on 34 drives this season. That's 11.8%. That would have been the worst rate in football a year ago, just below the Giants at 12.2%. That comes from Bill Barnwell. So for as much as, the Browns took care of business, this is also about the Steelers being bad.
I would offer that the Steelers have not led at any point over their last 2 games, and they've played 2 teams that we don't exactly believe in the New England Patriots and the Cleveland Browns, 2 offenses we don't exactly believe in. In fact, we don't believe in the Browns so much that, BLG, to your point about the picks, none of us took the Browns in week 1 when they played the Carolina Panthers. Think about that. I will say, and this is a different thing, but I kind of just don't want to pick the Browns. I know I did last week, but I'm not saying that you want to pick them, Brandon. I mean, we all feel the same way. But so I was a little bit more emotionally compromised with my pick, is where I'm coming from. I agree with Brandon. Like, stats, what's up with y'all on the gauntlet is weak. I mean, the gauntlet is lame. Like, it's not a gauntlet. It's just soft. It's a mattress. It's Van Halen's Jump song, like all over the like a bunch of just soft, cuddly things. Like, how can you not, like, you were the person a year ago, like, how can the 49ers just be wasting this time with Trey Lance? Like, get him in right now. So how can you argue against playing Kenny Pickett right now? I mean,
I don't answer questions in the gauntlet. If they had asked me, I would have said it's pointless to play Mitchell Trubisky. I was against the Mitchell Trubisky signing from the start because for some reason people thought he was going to be good because he looked good in one preseason game when he was the backup for the Bills. It was the dumbest argument ever. Mitchell Trubisky can't play in the league. Get rid of him. If you're the Steelers, I feel like the Steelers, they're so like wrapped up in this whole like, we're stable. We don't overreact, right? We don't fire coaches. We don't change quarterback. They kept Ben Roethlisberger for at least a year too long. Like, they got to get past that. Get with the times, all right? You got to find out what you have in Kenny Pickett. Even if you lose games this year and you lose that precious Mike Tomlin streak of never finishing under 500, it's worth it to find out what you have because it's going to impact what your franchise does for the next couple of years. Because if you think Kenny Pickett can play, you're going to load up in free agency while he's on the rookie contract and do everything you can to make the roster as good as it can in that little window. If you play him and he's absolutely terrible, well, then you still need a quarterback. Maybe you go out and get a veteran guy next year, but you got to find out. So playing Mitchell Trubisky does nobody any good.
I agree with that. To the point.
I would say to the point that we're all making, the Steelers are just a little bit more successful version of the Giants with their like archaic way of thinking. And there's obviously the like Rooney Mara connection. Like, there's the literal person, the human being, Rooney Mara. She's accomplished in her own right. But like that, they're like, I would say that the Giants are like the Ivysaur of evolution. But the Steelers are the Venusaur. Like, they're far more accomplished. They're far more stable. They don't have the drama, but they're the same thing, to your point, Stats. Like, they want to stick to their, like, this is the way it's. So we've only had 3 head coaches in the last 500 years. We don't blink. We know we'll get in and we'll grind and we'll lift the weights and we'll do it and we'll go out to the banks of the 3 rivers and figure it out the way that we have done it all along. Bill Cowher is going to come in and evaluate this team. No, stupid. This is dumb. You're wasting time. And they're in such a weird spot. Like, I don't even know that they're treading water. Like, they're kind of boring. Like, it's lame to watch the Steelers. It's not fun. It's not fun football.
And Kenny Pickett would be at the very least. And also, like, it's not like he looked overmatched, right? In the preseason games, you can be like, okay, he did good against weak competition. Okay, sure. We don't know that means he'll be successful in the NFL against starters, but at least I think it gives you some sense of he might not be totally like a lost cause and hopeless out there right away. I think he's ready to play. I'd like to see what the Steelers look like with Kenny Pickett. I don't know what we're supposed to learn about Mitch Trubisky. You gave him a chance. Okay, you give him 3 games. Now, you have this mini bye here going into the Jets game next week. Like, I think now is the time to pull the plug on Trubisky, who, by the way, like, let's talk about the George Pickens catch because that was like incredible. Obviously, I'm sure you can get into the, is it better than OBJ's catch or everything? But I mean, let's just, if that catch didn't happen, which is clearly like a great catch, not a good throw, if you take that away, Mitchell Trubisky was 19 of 31 for 171, a 5.5 average, 76.1 passer rating. Like, come on. Like, and it happened, so you can't take it away. But that was like, again, like it took one of literally the best catches in NFL history for Trubisky to even have a stat line that was like less pathetic than it easily could have been.
Just like Odell Beckham Jr., the author of this catch lost the game. That gets forgotten all the time. The Cowboys beat Odell Beckham Jr. in that game. Like, it was a great catch, but they lost. And like, it was an amazing comeback from Tony Romo and Des Bryant and Tyron Smith. It was an awesome finish on Sunday Night Football. And so Al Michaels was there for both of them, actually. So
Why do we have to remember who won the game when talking about the catch?
Because it's stupid to be like, oh my gosh, it was an amazing catch, but like, they lost. I mean, is that not important? Like, it should, like, if the Seahawks had won the Super Bowl that Russell Wilson lost, I feel like Jermaine Kearse's catch would have been one of the greatest catches of all time. But we forget about it because they lost. You know what I mean? Like, if this had been a not Giants team, the Odell thing, it would not have gotten the attention that it got. But I mean, cool. It was an amazing catch. I'm not trying to take away from that. This was an amazing catch. I think Odell's is still more amazing. I think it's stupid, again, that we act like Odell was the first person to ever catch a pass with one hand, kind of like we act like Aaron Rodgers was the first person to ever throw a Hail Mary. Now Brandon Staley's the first person to ever go for it on fourth down. So they're like, whoa, what a big shock with like 16 games happening most weeks that amazing catches happen in the NFL. What a huge surprise.
The catch was unbelievable. And I like Pickens. I like the fact that he's like legitimately like straight face, like I'm open 90% of the time. Like, I think that's fantastic. I like people with personality. We need more of that. And the Steelers need a quarterback that can actually just force feed him the ball. Like, they have weapons in Pittsburgh. Pickens is there. Chase Claypool can be a good weapon. Deontay Johnson's good. Najee Harris, like, you got to get somebody that can distribute, and clearly Mitch can't. And maybe Kenny Pickett can, but I think we know what Mitch is. So to continue down that road expecting a different outcome doesn't make sense to me.
I do want to say one thing on the other side of this ball, or the other side of the other side of the ball, other side of the game. We haven't talked about the Browns, and I think we're all fine with that. But Amari Cooper, dude, like, it just
is he still good?
It sucks so much. I mean, we're all going to agree here. Amari Cooper's I don't care where you rank him in your wide receiver rankings. He's worth much more than a 5th round pick, right? Like we can all like slam dunk agree with this. But Stats, you mentioned force feeding the ball to George Pickens. Shout out to Mike Clay, who had this tweet late Thursday night. Amari Cooper has a massive 31% target share this season. His previous career high, 23%, which was in 2016, his second season with the then Oakland Raiders. He had a career low, 19%. In Dallas last year. And that was our big contention at Blogging the Boys and across the Cowboys universe was, you want this dude to produce like Cooper Kupp and Devontae Adams and all these other dudes? Use him, throw it to him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was so stupid that they blamed him for poor production when he had a career low usage rate. The Browns have, I mean, he's a consensus number 1 receiver, right? Like, we all agree. However you want to rank him, whoever's better, he is somebody who the Cowboys could certainly use right now. Just there will never be a way to spin that trade. It was one of, honestly, the worst trades in NFL history, but certainly in Cowboys and Jerry Jones history.
Hate to see it. Last thing I'll say quickly on the Browns is, for as much as we obviously aren't like, wow, the Browns, what a great team to root for. I mean, like the objective reality is they're 2-1 right now. They lost to the Jets. I wouldn't say is super concerning in terms of like that took like very special. I mean, it's obviously disappointing they blew it, but it wasn't like, oh wow, this team is a total fraud because they lost that. To me, it's just like the Jets pulled off kind of like a miracle comeback there. But in any case, they get the Falcons next week, and they'll be heading into that game with extra rest. So really easy path to 3-1 here, which is pretty much like if you're having your backup quarterback carry the weight for most of the season, like they're in a good spot in that regard. Again, what you make of that and how your excitement level for that may vary, but that's what the reality is right now.
Yeah, if you're a Browns fan, I feel like you're just trying to check the games off until you can get Deshaun Watson back. And again, that's a whole other issue, but purely from a football standpoint, that's obviously the goal of the team. And if you had told them when word of that suspension came down that they could potentially start 4-1, I mean, obviously they all would have taken that. They would have been overjoyed. And that's really the reality that we could be close to be living in. So congratulations, Cleveland Browns and your fans. Enjoy the win. A win is a win is a win is a win, as they like to say. All right, gentlemen, I got some work to do because I'm not feeling good about my locks of the week. Like I said, I've been struggling. I disagree with your assessment, RJ, that I'm costing people money. Really, the worst place to be is BLG at 1-1. Because if I'm consistently bad, all you got to do is do the opposite of whatever I say, and you can win money. So really, the worst part of the show is you, BLG. Just, throwing that out.
He's also the worst in that he's this emotional hedge thing. All that is like a flag that says I'm too scared to actually believe in the Philadelphia Eagles, so I have to couch it with one thing, So
I mean, it's just the smart thing to do. You're paying for a win. How much money would you pay for a Cowboys win, RJ, each week? Probably a lot of money.
To quote Jerry Jones, the size of the check that I would write would be embarrassing, and then I would do nothing in free agency because that's what he did. So.
He's very good.
I don't even write checks. When was the last time you guys wrote a check?
Had to do it for like taxes or something.
Yeah,
it's been a little while.
I'm talking for like a grocery trip or something. Like
I've never paid for
the one. That's what I'm saying. There's the one weird thing in everyone's life that like they only take checks, but outside of that, like you don't normally, nobody carries a checkbook around or anything like that. It's, it's weird.
No. All right, let's get to our pick. It is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today. Use code SBNFL for a special offer when you sign up. That is code SBNFL only at DraftKings Sportsbook. RJ, you are the reigning champ, I'll say, 2-0. So it's week 3. I give you the floor. What's your lock of the week this week?
Well, similar to what you were talking about with yourself, Stats, how you can choose to bet against you if you want to make money. You can always choose to bet against the fraud Indianapolis Colts. They should always be referred to as frauds. Got completely and totally blanked by the Jacksonville Jaguars. That was so easy. And if the Jaguars can blank them, if the Jaguars can score against them, what are the Kansas City Chiefs going to do to this team? This is the worst possible situation that Frank Reich and Chris Ballard can find themselves in because they have run out of scapegoats and now they're going to start pointing at one another. But Patrick Mahomes is going to be pointing at the scoreboard, the indoor facility that is Lucas Oil Stadium. I can't believe how old such a new stadium looks. Is going to be quite the sad place. It is the home opener for the Indianapolis Colts, but it is the site of my lock of the week. I will take the Chiefs as 5.5-point favorites over the Colts. Shout out to me for continuing my perfect run.
I am going to take, for my lock of the week, the Dallas Cowboys +1 heading up to North Jersey to play the New York Football Giants. The football is back in the name after a 2-0 start. Are the Giants one of the worst 2-0 teams ever? Is like a big topic / headline you'll see going around. I think actually our friends at Big Blue View have an article about that. There's one on ESPN as well. And according to various metrics, including Football Outsiders DVOA, they are. And that should be plain to see because they won in week 1 when the Titans missed a field goal and they only won by 1 point. And then they narrowly defeated the Carolina Panthers, who I have in this little homage to the Oddcast here, dead last in my NFL power ranking. So they've beaten 2 bad teams and very narrowly. So, that's better than losing, but it doesn't mean they're very good. And the Cowboys, I think, have a distinct advantage when it comes to Micah Parsons is going to cause some problems for a quarterback who fumbles a lot and Daniel Jones and turns the ball over a lot. So I think the Cowboys defense will hold up against a quarterback who can't take care of the ball and an unimpressive Giants team kind of talent-wise as a whole. Cowboys will win this game. Cooper Rush has been fine, not great, but fine. And I think he can do enough to help the Cowboys win outright.
I'm going to take, and I can't believe I'm saying this sentence out loud, I'm going to take the Detroit Lions +6 against the Minnesota Vikings. Now, to be clear, I don't really still believe in the Lions, but their offense, it cannot be argued. I mean, they are putting up points, 35+ points in 2 weeks this year so far. They are getting points in this game. I don't know if they're going to win the game outright, but look, I know that they can score. I don't have that much faith in the Vikings defense. This could be a very high scoring game. But if Minnesota wins, I don't think they're going to blow them out by any stretch. So give me the Lions, a team I know can score. And if I'm getting a touchdown, it seems like easy money. Although, as I have said, I am 0-2 so far this year. So
the quarterbacks we're relying on are Patrick Mahomes, Cooper Rush, and Jared Goff. Just to be very clear here, that's the road we went down together.
Look, I don't even have to win the game to win the bet, though. That's the key, right?
Okay. All right.
How dare you?
You guys wonder why you're not perfect in this game, but okay. All right, cool.
All right. So those are our locks of the week. Now, let's get to our same game parlay. We like to go with the primetime game so everybody can follow along. Last week we did Bears and Packers. I was the only one out of this crew, by the way, to get their pick right. My leg of the parlay was Aaron Rodgers over 1.5 touchdowns. Easiest money I've ever made in my life. RJ, you are winless in this. So BLG, I'm going to start with you. 49ers Broncos. What's your leg of the parlay?
I will say mine was not far off from hitting last week. It was not like a despicable bet.
Oh my!
They don't give you half your money back, BLG.
I'm just saying, like, I went bold and it came close. So I was trying to get the people money and it didn't work out. But the point is, this is like me going for it on 4th down. It was a gutsy call. Did it work out this time? No, but it doesn't mean I'm going to cower and stop and shy away from that. So I will be bold here in the future. Again, I forgot my same game parlay. So, I found it. I forgot it. I have it now. It is Deebo Samuel rushing yards over 39.5. Look, let's be honest. I didn't love the props for this game. I don't love this game as a whole, but Jimmy G is back, and that means you have to rely on Deebo Samuel, just like the 49ers did a lot in the second half of last year. He already has 2 games with 50-plus yards this season. So if he keeps up that pace, he's going to continue the over. I was looking at his stats back from last year. He went over this amount a decent amount of times. I think they're going to have to rely on Deebo. I think he can have some success over 39.5 rushing yards.
I am winless in this particular game, obviously, and so I want to rip the Band-Aid off, right? I want to figure out whether I'm a winner or a loser right away. To be very clear, this game is kind of full of losers in different ways. Sorry, Stats, your 49ers are losers in a very unique way. A lot of fans thinking that they're winners because their franchise quarterback is injured. That's a weird look to me. The Denver Broncos, kind of king of the losers right now. They are the most losery losers in the NFL right now, as far as football is concerned. And so I don't think that they're going to accomplish much. In fact, their first drive of the game, minus 145 to be a punt. I will take a lock on that because do we really think that Nathaniel Hackett has figured it out just because he said he has, just because he's respect to him taking accountability, but like it's clear that this is not a functional NFL head coach. So one of the best defenses in the NFL. Give me that punt. I want to see it in high definition quality.
That is a good pick by you, RJ. Niners defense is flying completely under the radar. They are, in my eyes, the best defense in the entire league. So that is a great pick by you. Whose defense would you put over them?
We know the answer to that sense. Does the 49ers defense have Michael Parsons?
Who cares? There's 11 guys that play on defense. They do have this guy named Nick.
So
Bosa.
the Niners are cool because they shut down Geno Smith. Meanwhile, the Cowboys shut down Joe Burrow. Interesting. All right, whatever. Let's get to
Joe Burrow practically sacks himself. All right, my leg is easy, and it's Jimmy Garoppolo over half an interception. Look, it's clear. He's going to put the ball in harm's way. He's going to do it. The only question is how good are the hands of the Broncos defenders? Because I guarantee you there's going to be at least 2 passes that clank right off of them. All they got to do is hold on to this damn thing. Jimmy's going to give them plenty of opportunities. I have said on our Niners Nation podcast, I would take this over every single game Jimmy Garoppolo starts because ultimately it is going to be a moneymaker for you. I think that he's going to be under a little more pressure in this game than he was last week when he came in off the bench. That's also not a good thing for Jimmy Garoppolo. So he's going to put the ball in harm's way, and I'm confident at least one time Denver's defenders are going to be able to hang on to it. So that is our pick 3 of the week. Good luck to you. Good luck to us. Well, good luck to me. I don't really care about the rest of you. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we will run through every game on the Week 3 schedule. Back here on the SB Nation NFL show. All right. Are you guys buckled in? Are you hydrated? Are you ready?
I guess.
Yeah. Oh, God, don't bowl me over with your enthusiasm. Let's get excited here. We got a great game. Let's start it off with the Bills at the Dolphins. The Dolphins are getting 5 points, and I love this because I feel like we really get to test the narrative, BLG. Are the Dolphins for real? Because if they beat the Bills, nobody's going to say they're not.
Remind me, both of you, who took the Dolphins to beat the Ravens last week?
Oh, congrats, BLG. It was an amazing comeback. Respect. Cool.
RJ has been like, "Oh, you're just high on the Dolphins because you watched them practice against the Eagles."
That's true. Like, when they get destroyed,
they look really good, and now the Eagles look really good. So, like, that was meaningful, and I've been using that to my advantage. Look, the Bills are really good. It's hard to poke holes in them. They are stacked, but there's something about this Dolphins team that I like, and I'm going to keep going with it. Tua, that was a big game for him. For as many people, and I still feel like people don't want to give him credit, even though he had like a pretty big time performance last week, 6 touchdowns and came through in the clutch. And I get it. I still think there is a ceiling there. He's not like my favorite quarterback in the NFL, but I think he's done a lot to prove people wrong, and I think he deserves a little bit more respect than he's getting for what he's done. And I like Mike McDaniel. I said that going into the year. That's another reason why I felt good about the Dolphins. I believe in him. So, I think if I'm not mistaken, I took the Dolphins to win the AFC East in like our our show before week 1, our season predictions. So if I do that, I kind of have to stick with that and take the Dolphins to win here. And as Steven, our great producer, Steven Serta points out here, Bills also have several injuries. Micah Parsons, Jordan Phillips, Dane Jackson.
Micah Hyde.
Micah Hyde.
Sorry, what did I say? Micah Parsons? That's my NFC sprain in there. Micah Hyde. But the Bills are banged up. The Dolphins are frisky. Give me the Dolphins, baby.
do kind of feel like we didn't have the darling team that was like down on their luck that everybody was super in on the way people have done with the Jaguars and the Browns in years past. The Dolphins have become that just a few weeks into the regular season. I will give you credit, BLG, for being there earlier than most people. But now there's this like, oh, wow, Tua was amazing. He was amazing. So we're going to take either the one time he was amazing or the incredible sustained run of amazingness that the Bills and Josh Allen are on. I certainly respect the Dolphins. I respect Tua. Their wide receiver group is so much fun. I respect Mike McDaniel. This isn't about a lack of respect for them. It's about an immense amount of respect for the Buffalo Bills and what they've been able to do. They are just crushing people. They look like the absolute best team in the NFL. The Dolphins are certainly a playoff team, but this is just this is a different animal. This is a different monster. It's in Miami, and so I'm very interested to see how this plays out. I hate that we're getting this in week 3. I would love to get both division rivalry games between the two teams like later in the year. But to your point, I think this goes a long way at making the mountain more difficult to climb for Miami if they lose to win the AFC East. But I will take the Bills, and I will feel very, very, very confident about it. Thought about making it my lock of the week, but it feels lame to pick the Bills for that.
Look, even if Miami comes out and plays in this game the way they played against the Ravens at the end of the game, the Bills can keep up with that. So like even like peak Miami at their best, that's like regular Buffalo. So, I'm not saying that the Dolphins stink by any stretch of the imagination, but I just think the Chiefs are that damn good. They've obviously had kind of the same system there for a few years. There's familiarity, and then they're not going to get rattled, right? Like if the Dolphins come out and like throw a deep bomb to Tyreek Hill, they're not going to be like, oh no, it's going to be like, all right, watch this. Here's Stephon Diggs. Here's, all these playmakers that we have. So
Stephon Diggs, who was on the SB Nation NFL show this week, Stats.
Yes, he was very confident. He kind of slyly slipped into the interview that like, oh yeah, I plan on spending a lot of time in Arizona during the Super Bowl this year. Nice work by him. So I'll take the Bills. I'll give the points. It's a lot of points. It might be a closer game than that, but just until Buffalo has a bad game, I feel like I almost have to go with them. So I will take the Bills and give the points. Let's go to Minnesota now. Lions at the Vikings. Vikings are giving 6 points in this game. Detroit has scored a touchdown, RJ, in 15 straight quarters. That's pretty damn good.
I'm down bad this week. It's been a bad week for my takes, except for my locks, thankfully. It was tough to watch my Vikings get destroyed on Monday Night Football and to feed into the Kirk Cousins primetime thing. I still really believe in this offense, and I think you're both leaning too much into the meme if you say that you don't. And so I just, I think the Lions have arrived a little bit, but it's still a chaotic ride. I don't know that I believe in them, to a legitimate degree, and I'm very interested to watch their season unfold. But I do think the Vikings bounce back, and I know the game, obviously, the one game between the two last year that was in Detroit was wild and had the crazy kind of final minutes. So this is a lot of points to give. In fact, I think it's too many points to give. I will take the Lions to cover, but I think the Vikings win this game. I could see it being wild, crazy, whatever. Kirk maybe having an amazing finish that nobody cares about because it's not in prime time. Then it becomes like, oh, so what? Kirk did it against the Lions. Like all of a sudden, all the hyping that we've done about the Lions means nothing just because Kirk Cousins was the person who tamed them. But so Vikings win, Lions cover.
I agree that the points here, they're super tempting. How could you not? Because even if you don't think the Lions can pull it off, the Vikings are so good again now that they're going to easily defeat this team. And look, the Lions kept it close with the Eagles in week 1. That has aged well for them. And then they beat the Commanders pretty decisively. I know they allowed the Commanders back into the game. They were up 22-0 at one point. They're a legit team. And the Vikings have their issues. I do think, to RJ's point, they will bounce back a little bit. Justin Jefferson isn't going to be totally locked down like he was by NFC Defensive Player of the Week, Darius Slay, in week 2. But I do like the points here. I'm actually going to take the Lions outright because I think it's going to be a close game. I do think it's going to be a close one either way, but I will take Detroit. I don't think the Lions, just to be clear, though, I don't think the Vikings are quite as bad as they were on Monday night.
I would definitely agree with that. I made my pick earlier, so everybody knows I'm taking the Lions and the points. But I agree. I think Minnesota is going to have a good showing in this game. I think that they're going to win the game ultimately, but I will take the Lions and the points. All right, let's go to New England now. The Ravens come to town. The Patriots are getting 2.5 points at home. They passed on Lamar twice in 2018 in the draft, BLG. Do you think that sticks in Lamar's mind?
I don't know. Do you do? Do you think that?
I think he's aware of it at the least.
I think the Ravens are also a team that is going to another purple team that is going to bounce back this week. That was a tough loss for them against the Dolphins. They're obviously up, played well for most of the game, didn't finish the deal. Patriots, I'm not buying them just because they beat the Steelers, who we just talked about earlier. Like, not very Mitchell Trubisky, not very impressive there. I was watching some of that Patriots Steelers game early last week, and offense just looked like pulling teeth for kind of both sides. The Patriots' big play was that Nelson Aguilar touchdown catch of all catches, and even that was somewhat of a fluky play. Like, it was underthrown by Mac Jones. The ball was in the air, and Aguilar just made a great play on it. But it was like a contested catch. Point being, I don't know that they have like sustainable offense going for them right now. So I will easily take the Ravens here.
I thought about taking the Patriots just because you can kind of see, like, we've seen this movie before, like, great team like the Ravens comes out, has this hot start, and then has this frustrating loss, and you think, like, okay, this is the moment to bounce back, and then they lose, and all of a sudden they're below 500. What's going on? You could see Belichick kind of controlling Lamar, but the Patriots just don't have the horses this year. Like, I mean, it just feels so empty. It feels like, have you guys ever seen Mighty Ducks 3? It's a great film. Okay, well, so obviously it's the third movie in the franchise, and the Ducks are in, I think, college or like some high level of high school, and they're playing like super legitimate, hockey against legitimate competition. And you're both familiar with the flying V concept that they have in the first two movies. Well, so they try to do that in this game against like the varsity team, and it gets just like destroyed. And the main character is getting like chastised by the coach afterwards, and he's like, your little duck tricks won't work here anymore. And it kind of feels like that. Like, it kind of feels like Belichick, like you've had this like incredible bag, this Mary Poppins sized bag of tricks that you can fool the entire NFL with, but they just don't work anymore. Like, and I'm not saying like he's been predictable, but like all those things have kind of run their course. And shout out to him for having a 20-year long run of a dynasty. There's no shame in that whatsoever, but it's so hard to believe in it anymore. It feels like we're way past the end, not coming to the end, like we're way past it.
That's a long way to go for that analogy, man. I'm just
it worked.
You.
You know it. It worked. They're birds, just like the Ravens. Even though it was about the Patriots, it worked.
I will say I'm a little nervous about Lamar as BLG holds up his Go Birds shirt.
By the way, I think it's the stupidest thing that Eagles fans claim birds, like that they're the ones who are like, go Birds. There are like 7 bird mascots in the NFL. That's so dumb to me. That would be like saying go Humans if you were like a Giants or Cowboys or a Niners fan or whatever.
Or a Patriots fan.
There you go.
Yeah.
Like Lamar, I feel like it's kind of flown under the radar a little bit. Like, he had this sleeve on his arm on Wednesday, was a limited participant in practice. He was listed with an elbow injury. Now, he did practice in full yesterday on Thursday, so maybe that's fine. But that makes me a little nervous. But ultimately, I just think, like, even if Belichick comes up with a great plan, like, you still have to tackle this dude. And he's incredible. And I think they're going to figure it out. They're going to be motivated now after giving that game away last week. I'm going to take the Ravens in this one. I'll give the points. I'll feel pretty comfortable about it. New England is just, they don't have a quarterback, and I have no faith in their offensive coaching staff, and they have done nothing so far to dissuade me of that opinion. Let's go to Tennessee now. The Raiders come to town. The Titans are getting 2 points. Is this an elimination game, BLG? Are you willing to say the loser of this game is out of the playoffs in the AFC?
Not from a Titans perspective, just because the AFC South is so bad. I mean, the Jaguars are at the top right now at what, 1-1? Even if the Titans drop this, they still have a chance to win very awful division. But for the Raiders, I mean, the Raiders are probably already done. Like, blowing that lead to the Cardinals, your season's done. Like, I mean, at least you still might be able to make a wild card, maybe, but you're definitely not winning the West. And obviously their chances of doing that weren't amazing anyway. But now, like, I feel like you can already close the book on that because of how tough of a division and how tight of a race that's going to be. You can't afford to lose any ground, especially a game where you're up 20-0. So I do think the Raiders need this more. And with that in mind, I think they will find a way to win. I know they're 0-2, but like, they could have won that Cardinals game. They were competitive with the Chargers in week 1. I just think they're not quite 0-2 bad. Whereas the Titans thus far, I can very easily envision them being 0-3. It's a short week for Tennessee after coming off a really bad loss to Buffalo. Loss of AJ Brown is not the only issue down there, but it's certainly not helping matters. And Derrick Henry we all knew this. We all knew Derrick Henry couldn't be Derrick Henry forever. And it was coming to roost at some time here. So give me the Raiders.
I said that the Titans are the Cowboys of the AFC, like with how they approach the offseason, right? Like they got rid of things, you know what I mean? And then they were like, we'll just be fine. Like we'll be just as good. And like the division sucks. So like we'll win it. And we're seeing the bottom kind of coming out for them. I think Mike Vrabel is a sneaky, I don't know what the odds are. Maybe we can find them, but on Mike Vrabel being the first head coach fired this season, I could kind of see that. Like you could kind of see it falling apart and them just needing something, and then Malik Willis is turned to full time. It's just a matter of. I know it's not his fault, but I mean, this is a disaster. I'm going Raiders. I agree with you entirely, Brandon, in that we've seen the Raiders. We can't give out almost points, but like we've seen the Raiders look like the better team in the games they've played in spurts. We have not seen that with the Titans. Not to be fair, they had to play the Bills most recently, and that's obviously very difficult, but they at no point looked better than the Giants. And that is the more concerning thing. I think the Raiders win handily, and this is not an elimination game. I agree, Stats, but it is one of those like, the winner of this is in, thank God we're not 0-3 territory. Like, and that's a bad place to be if you're on the opposite side, obviously.
I just think the Raiders have more talent. Like I have said, I think this like mini little era of Tennessee football is over. You got to get rid of Ryan Tannehill. AJ Brown is already gone. Derrick Henry's clearly on the backside of his career, just age and the combination of just the sheer number of touches that guy has sustained already. I just think they need to move on. And they're another team. Like, again, does anybody think Ryan Tannehill is leading you to a championship? And spare me with that number 1 seed in the AFC last year. Who cares? Everybody, the whole AFC was a friggin' mess last year.
Really tout that? I feel like people don't actually even tout that.
Well, Titans fans might.
I think Bills fans are too. Like we can't have it both ways. Like we can't say, oh, well, the Bills win and destroyed the world champions, and then the team who was the 1 seed. Like we can't play either. It was a fraudulent 1 seed or it was real. We can't, you know what I mean? We can't use it to our own narrative. Sorry.
Well, I think it's over for Tennessee. Like, go to Malik Willis. He actually showed some flashes in the preseason. Again, it's about finding out what you have. We know what Ryan Tannehill is. He needs to shift to a backup role in his career. He could be a good mentor for Malik Willis, actually. They're both similar kind of guys. They're both mobile quarterbacks. Like, what do you do in Tennessee? Man, maybe if they lose this game, they do. But I'll take the Raiders, and I'll give the points. All right, I have to start with BLG for this next game because it's Eagles at the Commanders getting 6 points. It's Carson Wentz against the quarterback and Jalen Hurts that he replaced. It's his chance to stick it to the Eagles and all their arrogant podcasters and people that cover the site. BLG, where are you going?
I mean, Carson Wentz wanted out of Philly, by the way. This isn't like the Eagles. Oh, the Eagles just dumped him. Like, he wanted to leave.
I'm pissed off, Angelo.
That was really distracting. I lost my train of thought entirely. I like the Eagles to win this game. I feel very confident in that. I think the spread is a little big. It's a division game. I feel like Carson Wentz can put up some garbage time points very well and cover it, make it a closer game. It's a big game for him. But, yeah, exactly. But here's the other thing that I feel very confident in. He's going to turn the ball over. He does it. Stats. You love this stat that I bring up. Speaking of stats, 67 fumbles and 87 starts for Carson Wentz. He is a guaranteed fumble a game, almost. Like, it's going to happen. I said this to RJ on the NFC East mixtape this week. It's just about, like, does it happen at a backbreaking time? Are the Eagles able to recover? It's going to happen at some point, at least once. You know it's going to happen. So it's about mitigate. It's like, can we survive that? And if that's the position you're in, like, we have to survive the turnover, then why are you betting on that? I don't feel great about that. Eagles are going to have a lot of fans down there at FedEx Field. I feel like they always usually travel well down there. So Carson Wentz is probably going to get booed in his own stadium down there, if not from Commanders fans, if he's struggling as well. So give me the Eagles. I'll take the Commanders with the points to cover, but the Eagles are going to win this game.
No faith in the. I said this to Brandon on the mixed
division game.
He bags on Carson Wentz at every turn. He's been all in on the Eagles this year. How they're one of the best looking teams. Like, how can you? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how can you not? I think that's cowardly.
It's a division game.
Who cares? You think this quarterback sucks? You think he's a guaranteed fumble? Like, you believe in this offense to a great degree. Like, you cannot ride the fence on this one. You either have to be all in or all out in my mind.
I don't have to do anything you tell me, first of all. And second of all, Carson Wentz has produced this year. I'm not saying I don't think he's good, but like he has, what, 7 touchdowns so far? So that offense is capable of putting up some points. I think they can cover, but I don't think they're going to have enough to top Jalen Hurts, who's looking pretty good, and a defense that had their best performance in a while. And that doesn't make me fully confident that defense is suddenly going to be a shutdown unit. But I think they're going to capitalize on the turnovers.
For the record, Brandon has now taken the points on 2 quarterbacks in a row against the Eagles who he thinks suck, in Kirk Cousins
and I was right on one of them.
And Carson Wentz. So, I mean, just putting that out there. Just, you know.
Right.
So who are you picking, RJ?
So I will say this. I say a lot, like, couldn't you see, right? Like, because, like, we love the NFL. The NFL is super cinematic and theatrical, and it gives us, like, these amazing stories. The vibes have, to use Brandon's, point of evaluation here, have been incredible for the Eagles so far through the first 2 weeks, right? Like, it has been a nonstop party in Philadelphia. What is the most destroying way that could come undone? Yeah, would be a loss to Carson Wentz, and where he, like, I don't even think he has to shine. Like, even if it's like one of those, like, like Jimmy Garoppolo NFC Championship performances, right? Like, he completed 8 passes, but like the Commanders defense shut down the Eagles. It would still be this we lost to Wentz type thing, and it would hang over the season for a while, at least until the Commanders and the Eagles met again. So I will say this. I challenged the Eagles, so far the first weeks of the season, and they have lived up to it. They look like one of the best teams in the NFC. You really want to be this team, Eagles, that can win a Super Bowl? Go destroy him. Like, go prove to everyone that you were right. He was the problem. Do what the Colts cannot. The Colts can't walk the walk that they talked when they talked all about Carson Wentz over the offseason. Can you do it, Eagles? I will take the Eagles. I will take them to cover because I think they're that good. But if Carson Wentz comes out and is somewhat legitimate and somehow wins this game, it would be so incredibly funny.
First of all, Jimmy Garoppolo threw 8 passes in that NFC Championship game. He only completed 6. But I'm interested to see how this game starts because I really think Carson is so thin-skinned. I think if Jalen Hurts comes out and looks really good and they go right down the field and throw a touchdown, I think he's going to start pressing right away.
Yep.
like quarterbacks always say, well, I'm not competing against the other quarterback. Carson is in this game. I think he's going to want to go out and throw 50 touchdowns. He already has that kind of urge to never give up on a play no matter what. If Jalen Hurts comes out and starts looking good, he's going to press even more and probably force things and probably turn the ball over. Like you said, BLG, the Eagles are my pick to come out of the NFC for the Super Bowl this year. So of course I am picking them in this game. Of course I am confident in them. I will take the Eagles and I will give the points. See, that's how it's done, BLG. All right, let's go to Carolina. Saints at the Panthers. The Panthers are getting 2.5 points. RJ, I know you love this kind of stuff. 2 Heisman Trophy winners in this game. 2 number 1 draft picks at quarterback, and neither one is playing for the team that drafted him first overall.
The NFC South is truly like, if the Arizona Cardinals were a division, it would be the NFC South. It's like, hey, give the franchise legends to this division that like established themselves elsewhere. This is a weird game. I think it's hilarious that people thought, like, I could see the Saints being a playoff team, but like they have not looked great at all this season. Like, again, we don't have to talk about, Peter King making them the 1 seed and all this stuff, but like, that was so ridiculous. Like, what is the thing? My take on the Vikings, right? Like, you both disagree with it, but I know you both are like, well, they have Justin Jefferson, right? Like, I guess I can kind of buy what RJ's selling. They have the best receiver in the NFL. Like, if that happened, it could happen. What's the thing? What's the one thing for the Saints? Like, even if I asked you to name one thing, what can it possibly be? That being said, the Carolina Panthers are disgusting. They don't deserve to be an NFL team. I will take the Saints. I will take the points. The Panthers will find a way. How appropriate it will be that they will fall to 0-3 after the 3-0 start a year ago.
It really is funny. I think that's the perfect analysis, the correct analysis, if you will, for this game. It's like the Saints are not good. However, the Panthers are despicable and worse. Panthers all-time bad vibes. I have them 32nd in my power rankings. I cannot buy into them at all. To the point where I am taking a team that has a quarterback who I don't believe in really a ton when he's healthy, in Jameis Winston, who now has like 4 fractures in his back. Like, what is this? Like, what are the Saints really going to do with this? Now, that being said, I think their defense is good enough to limit a very not so good Panthers offense, and Baker, I'm sure, is going to turn the ball over and everything. Give me the Saints. Do I feel like incredible about it? No, but I also feel awful about the Panthers, and I could not live with myself if I was putting my faith in Matt Rule and Baker Mayfield and everything they have going on.
Yeah, we were talking about coach with the highest odds to get fired first. Shout out to Steven Serta, by the way. Mike Vrabel is 18th at plus 1375. I got to think Matt Rule's got to be number one, right? I mean, like, how much leash does this guy have left? They not only have they not been successful on the field, they just haven't shown any sort of a plan, any signal that they are getting better or improving in any way, shape, form, or fashion. If it weren't for Christian McCaffrey there, they'd be an even bigger mess. I don't love the Saints. Everybody that's listening to this show knows that, but they're going to win this game, and I will give the points. Chicago and Houston. Up next, the Bears are giving 3 points in this game. They are at home, so that makes sense. It's the revenge, RJ, of Lovie Smith going up against his own former beloved Chicago Bears.
I picked the Texans to win the AFC South, which I feel like doesn't look that stupid just because the AFC South is that bad. I don't believe that I saw this during the week, and I have forgotten, and I don't remember who tweeted it, so that's my bad. But Davis Mills's home road splits are like literally polar opposites. Like, he is so bad on the road compared to being like serviceable at home. This game is in Chicago, to your point. Has Lovey's stats? I feel like Lovey played the Bears while with the Bucks, right? Like, this is not.
I gotta assume at one point, yeah.
Well, I mean, he only coached there for 2 years, and then he went back to University of Illinois. So I mean, like, but I don't know. Steven's done a fantastic job, Steven. I don't mean to make your job harder, but I would be curious to know if Lovey's ever been back to at least been back. Maybe he's faced the Bears. I'll take the Bears. I mean, again, like, we've seen
take the Bears.
We've seen some signs of life. When
they threw for 2 yards last week.
Davis Mills is so bad on the road. Again, this is Saints Panthers with a more like pleasing aesthetic visually. That's all. I like Soldier Field and watching games there.
Justin Fields. What did he say last week, RJ, about like this loss doesn't hurt the fans or whatever?
Yeah, he in his presser, I think on Monday, said something like the fans don't work as hard or something like that. So, and he did walk that back. I think it was like, I understand his point, but like, that's not a wise thing to say. That's kind of a like, you haven't been under the microscope for that long thing to say.
He said the fans, quote, aren't putting in any work, which is just like,
which is true. I don't think it was like when I first heard it.
What do you mean?
Like, fans are not training, they're not lifting weights, they're not going to practice every
they're
day.
Not like frustrated by the results and like pour like a lot of their money and time into it. Like, they have every right to be frustrated. Like, they shouldn't be frustrated because they're not lifting weights and like actually throwing the football.
No, I just think the players should be more I didn't think it was that bad at all, to be honest.
You can't say it. You can't say what he said. It was absolute big loser energy. Like, that's exactly why. That is exactly why. From this whole outset, I have been skeptical of Justin Fields. Those are the kind of vibes I was picking up on, which made me more skeptical of the people who were just like seeing talent. He's so talented. I am more skeptical, and it's only on brand for me to go and lean into that skepticism. It's not really about feeling good about the Texans. As Stats points out here, that Lovey is 0-2 versus the Bears. It's time for the Lovie Smith revenge game. He's going to get it this week. Give me the Texans.
Interesting. So you'll completely bet against quarterbacks you don't believe in when the Eagles aren't playing them, but when they are, you're too scared to. Interesting.
I think Carson Wentz is solid. I don't believe in him as a franchise quarterback, but we don't need to rehash this whole thing.
Stats, break the tie.
I know I'm going back to the Niners on this, but if Trey Lance went 7 of 11 for 70 yards with no touchdowns and an interception in prime time, he would be getting skewered. And I don't know why Justin Fields is covered in Teflon and nothing sticks to him, but that is hideously bad. It's absurd. So I don't love the Bears in this game. I don't love the Texans, but like, do I think Davis Mills can be better than that? Yeah. I'm sorry. Like, I'll take the Texans. I don't love it, but at least I'm getting points in the game. And until I see Justin Fields do anything with any kind of consistency, I have to bet against him. So sorry, I'm going with the Houston Texans. Next up, Cincinnati traveling to New Jersey to take on the Jets. Jets getting 6, coming off a big win. Cincy has to win this game, otherwise they're going 0-3. BLG.
I'm going to take the Jets. The Jets, Jets, because
Mr. Joe Burrow.
It's not about him. that Bengals offensive line doesn't give them a chance. It's like what, 16 sacks and 23 quarterback hits in 2 games. It's who is
TJ
succeeding
Watt and
behind
Micah Parsons. I think that's a fair thing to
Do you know who's
include
a
in the
pass
analysis.
rusher for the Jets?
Not them.
Used to
I mean,
play for the Bengals?
he's
to play
played
for the
honestly
Bengals?
maybe the 2 best pass rushers in the NFL.
Used to play for the Bengals, isn't a pretty good pass
Well,
rusher
yeah.
himself. Carl Lawson,
Not on
baby.
that
It's the
level, but
Carl
you're right.
Lawson revenge game. Again, do I believe in the Jets as a whole? No, but that offensive line is so bad, and games are won and lost in the trenches. I would know that as a true kind of football guy. I'll take the Jets here, especially with the points. The Bengals, man, their vibes have been bad. Offensive line is so bad. Zach Taylor, the offense is at a sink. If they could get right, I will say against anyone, it could be against this Jets secondary. But for now, I will go with the Jets.
I'm calling this week 3, the CEG, the clear eye gift. And what I mean by that is this is the gift for the class of 2020 quarterbacks. Obviously, 2020 is perfect vision there for the clear eye. This is the gift for Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert. All right, get back on track. All right, and they both get to do it against the Jaguars. Don't really have like green. I know they're teal, but they both get to do it against greenish teams. Joe Burrow gets the New York Jets. I'm spoiling my Chargers pick. Obviously, the Chargers get the Jacksonville Jaguars flying across the country. Everybody knows how big of a deal it is. Opposite time zones. I mean, the Jets were very cute last week, but that comeback was so improbable. Like we talk about things being sustainable. Like it's just not going to happen. I definitely think the Bengals have long-term problems along their offensive line. I would be more impressed than I would be with the usual routing if the Bengals routed them, just because the Jets are kind of that team that's in. Everybody remembers the Mike White game a year ago. Like go put an end to that. You know what I mean? Like just go destroy them and get back on track. Get to 1-2, stabilize things. I'll take the Bengals. I'll give the points and feel very confident about it.
This game makes me very uneasy because I do agree the Bengals offensive line is a problem, but it was a problem last year and they still got to the Super Bowl. Like, I don't know. It's got to be good enough for them to beat the Jets. The Joe Flacco stinks. There's talent on Cincinnati's defense. I think we'll probably end up seeing Mike White in this game personally. I think Cincinnati's going to get right. Robert Saleh, he kind of got off the hook because he made that receipts comment and then the Jets pulled off this incredible comeback. I don't know if that's going to happen two weeks in a row. So it's a lot of points. But I think I'll take Cincinnati. I don't feel great about it, but I'm not going to count on the Jets to miraculously pull off wins in consecutive weeks. One more
icebox.
We haven't done the icebox.
We were so close, PLG. What are you doing?
David!
So close.
Fun fact about the icebox. Winter is coming.
I'm in the icebox.
That one's on you, Brandon. Damn it. All right, let's finish up with the early games. Chiefs at the Colts. RJ, your favorite team to talk about. The Colts got shut out, and they have the fewest points in the entire league. So good luck facing Patrick Mahomes.
I feel so vindicated. Matt Ryan won MVP. Matt Ryan took the Falcons to the Super Bowl. The Colts would have done this with Carson Wentz. It makes me so happy. I recognize it's just like picking and choosing to confirm my priors. It makes me so happy that Carson Wentz beat the Jaguars and that the Colts immediately got shut out by them. Like, that is so funny. I put all of the blame on Frank Reich and Chris Ballard. I put none of it on the Colts players. They were up against it. Their leadership was narcissistic, arrogant, and ignorant to narratives and ideas that they didn't want to choose to acknowledge as reality. They were so full of themselves that, look, we all understand that Carson Wentz was a problem last year, but they allowed themselves in their arrogance to place all of the blame, all of the faults for the 2021 Indianapolis Colts at the feet of the quarterback who they traded for. I mean, it is dripping. It is soaking wet in narcissism. They deserve all of this. They're going to get destroyed. And I hate all this, like all the Colts media that's like, the Colts have to find a way. The pass catchers around Matt Ryan, everybody around Matt Ryan has to step up. No, because you told us that this offense was tailor-made, that Matt Ryan just shows up and executes everything. No, like now all of a sudden the roster's full of problems. No, you can't have it both ways. I hate this walking back that is happening. The Colts made this bed. They have to line it. They stink. They're bad. They're awful. Chiefs by 1,000.
Why is this line only 5.5? Like,
agreed. No.
Like,
Agreed.
what would make you think that this game like that? So that's fishy to me. That's a little suspicious. I can't take the Colts in good faith because there's nothing to believe in, really. But that just seems very odd to me. The Chiefs are rolling. Colts very much not. RJ, it's nice for you to finally, for one time, tell us about how you really feel about the Colts side. Yeah, I don't have anything. Like, this should be very simple. It should be Chiefs 5.5. Duh.
I mean, Shaq Leonard might come back for this game, so that obviously would be a big lift for Indianapolis.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that was another thing. They were like, he's going to be fine. He's going to be totally like. And to be fair, last year when the Carson Wentz, Quentin Nelson thing happened, they were like, it's going to be fine, and it was fine. But they were like, he's going to be fine. Don't worry, Shaq Leonard, he's going to be back. Shaquille Leonard, it's all going to be good. Like, they're all going to be back. All the Leonards are going to be back. No. Like, there is some bad energy encircling the Colts.
His injury really scares me. The fact that like this is the first week he might be able to play, and then he had a great year last year, even banged up. But I don't know that I'd feel great about him long term there. There's nothing about the Colts to give you any optimism. It seems like 5.5 is really like this is the classic, right? Vegas is begging you to take the Chiefs, and that always scares me. But I cannot, in good faith, bet against Kansas City, so I will take the Chiefs and I will give the points. Let's get to the late games now. The marquee matchup of the late window: Aaron Rodgers and the Packers going to Tampa Bay. The Bucs are favored by just 1 point. Tom Brady may or may not have a finger injury. RJ,
I don't like the Bucs vibes right now, and I feel weird saying that the Packers have better vibes than anybody because their vibes are so toxic and weird and broken. But the Packers, look, they're going to be good, right? Like, I don't think they're going to win 13 games this year. I think we all agree with that. But like, they're still going to be good. Like, they're still somewhat inevitable. I know that Aaron Rodgers doesn't play well in Tampa, and he's thrown like whatever, like half his career pick sixes there of the like 4 because Aaron Rodgers is so amazing. We have to talk about this every time we talk about Aaron Rodgers. But I mean, I'll take the Packers. Like, the Bucs are in a very, very weird spot. I think it's kind of weird. The Mike Evans suspension thing is weird. If that like feels like the league, like just kind of like just take this one suspension and go away. Why is Bruce Arians on the field? I feel like that wasn't talked about at all last week. Like, what is going on? I think like he is so overshadowing and overstepping. He talks, and like, I don't want to like, I have problems with Bruce Arians as a football coach. I'm not like here to talk about him as a person, but he talks all about how he wanted to elevate and promote and allow opportunities for Todd Bowles, and good for him. He's shown his track record shows nothing but doing things like that. But how can you say that and then literally like make this about yourself? Like, I mean, I just don't like what's going on there. Bruce Arians seems, and like, I don't know. I'm so out on the Bucs. I think they'll be fine because they have Tom Brady, but this is so weird. And again, like, I hate to play conspiracy theorist, but it does feel like the NFL is fine turning a blind eye to some things with some teams related to some people, and it feels like they're totally comfortable doing that with Bruce Arians and the Bucs right now.
Yes, the NFL famously never has come after a team that Tom Brady has been on. Not that they're victims either, because I don't believe that. But anyway, yeah, I know that it's no Mike Evans, but Todd Bowles is a very good coach, and his defenses perform very well. And I don't think that's just a coincidence that Aaron Rodgers has been struggling